going to be talking about adding some drone footage to a Scrolly map, how you can align it, how you can make it work smoothly. For some context, this was a cool freelance project I did a couple years ago, and really wish I presented last year at PCD and promised myself I would present this year, so I did it. Yeah, this was a harrowing environmental justice story in Alabama. So this is a process that happens with, it's for steel production, so they cook this coal and it's used in the chemical production of steel, but it puts out a lot of bad stuff, and they like to put these things in neighborhoods where people don't have a lot of opportunity. So yeah, the visualization plan for this was to make a map, Scrolly map-based storytelling. That was kind of like the base concept here. Highlighting those injustices, highlighting the spatial relationship of the coking plant with the neighborhoods surrounding it. But also wanted to connect this to like individual people that live in these places. And so there's this person that was willing to be interviewed for the story, Lamar Mabry, and it seemed like a cool idea to be able to like tie this kind of abstract map to this person's like actual house and like their actual life on the. And so it seemed like a good place to potentially try to tie in some drone footage or like make that map more real. So requirements for this were to seamlessly transition from like your standard kind of basic Mapbox Scrollytelling thing that many of us have played with and done, into that drone footage while maintaining it being controlled by the scrolling. So saw some cool examples from New York Times from William earlier. I'm going to talk about a few different ways you can go about that. Also needs to go in reverse because people scroll back up the page sometimes. So yeah, taking a look at the site, this is kind of the main area for, if we turn this oblique, which we'll do later with some drone footage, you'll see smokestacks, you'll see all kinds of big, scary industrial looking things, and then these nice neighborhoods surrounding it. So Mabry's house is just south of the coking plant. It's down in this neighborhood here. Hopefully you can see the mouse moving around a little bit at least. So yeah, it felt like pretty ideal setup. We've got a north up, so that's a good start. We don't have to do any twisting, reduce some motion there. So first, kind of planning what we were going to do with the drone sequence. We want to be able to tie it to our map, so we're going to start looking straight down, and that subject will be Mabry's house, which is going to be a house. And then we're going to pan view, so we're going to fall down, kind of framing his house in front of us, and look up, and there'll be like smokestacks and this big plant kind of looming in the background. So that's kind of the plan for what we want to get out of the footage. I was up in Minnesota, not in Alabama, so I didn't fly the drone footage. I was having to communicate these ideas to a drone pilot down in Birmingham. So yeah, face north, start high, drop down, and that final frame should show that kind of concept I just explained there. Multiple takes are great too, because I'm sure we'll get some more smoothness, or there'll be a weird car driving by or something in certain shots. So yeah, from the tech sign though, now we've got some video, and in reality I didn't have video, so I was like doing this with videos of my dog and stuff, trying to get the tech to work. But there's a few different options here. So kind of what Apple has done and what sounds like the New York Times has worked with is this kind of breaking your video down into like PNGs, frames of the video, sliding through those as you scroll, and that works pretty well. Has some trade-offs though. You don't get that magic video compression that comes with a video that can understand the frames next to it are showing mostly the same stuff as the one coming before it. So there's a bit of data trade-off there. So we can also tie video to scroll, but this is also quite complicated sometimes. And then there's this magic option. That's what I actually ended up using, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But so yeah, that first time was using some PNG images. There's some trade-offs like I mentioned there. And there's some all weird bugs, especially with this library I was trying to use in Firefox, so that was not working out. I skipped I already spoiled it there. But trying to control the video with just directly with the scroll position, so basically setting your timestamp with scroll, also can work. And this is how some newsrooms have done this, and to great success. Like some of these are really smooth, but it takes some pretty interesting encoding. You have to kind of nail the encoding of this, which reduces some of the video compression and kind of defeats some of the purpose of what we were trying to get out of this one. And it's just quirky on different devices and browsers. So had some issues with that. A couple years ago, though, at the time I was working on this, a new library popped up, and now it's pretty well established and really great. Scrolly Video.js kind of takes a hybrid approach, pretty cool tech, where it uses the web codecs API to kind of you send it a video file, so you get all that compression, and then it breaks it down into its component frames, and we'll draw those on a canvas. And so this is really performant for that smooth scrolling. You don't have to deal with these weird device issues. And when you do run into device issues or browser issues, in this case, since web codecs aren't available everywhere, it'll fall back to some of those other techniques. And so it has this nice ability to cover a lot of ground. So yeah, really excited when I found Daniel's new library. And yeah, encourage checking it out. So we've got a basic tech plan. Now we just need to swap it out with the map to the video. So we're just doing an opacity shift on two elements that are stacked on top of each other. We're also trying to make sure we don't send anybody who doesn't want a bunch of motion on their screen on like a crazy drone flight. So checking for that too. Then alignment, and this was a really big challenge, and it's still not perfect in all cases. Yeah, one trick is clipping the first frame out and georeferencing that, putting that on your map, so that you can kind of zoom into it and it kind of behaves just like another satellite tile. Fade that in. I'll show that in a little bit. And then, yeah, you just kind of got to dial the zoom in the center so that all things line up. So, yeah, we'll scroll through at least this little section of the story that shows the map. So we'll fly into Birmingham. Fade in some new layers here. So here's the area that the coke plant exists in. Found some cool aerial imagery showing some really nasty smoke coming out. Pretty proud of my cutout of the line so the smoke could go over top of it. ProPublica had done a really nice analysis of air pollution in modern times that showed some pretty bad stuff as well in this area. So there's another plant up here that's also spewing some bad stuff. The plant also provided residents with soil that was super contaminated for their gardens and things over the years, turning this place into a Superfund site. So showing that region where that Superfund site has been declared. And of course, this is an area that's been redlined. So we'll zoom into Mabry's house here, fade in that first frame, and here's our moment of truth. Let's see if my resolution change here that affected all my other slides breaks my alignment. Not so bad. So now we slide into the drone footage. You can see someone mowing his lawn over there, controlling it with scroll, and it goes backwards. Yay. So yeah, thanks.